Way too early running back rankings for 23. Next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers here with Adam Azer, and you heard me talk about my top 5 quarterbacks for 2023 on yesterday's episode. Today, Adam and I are going to go through we'll see how many of the running backs we get through. And the way I want to do this, Adam, is we've all put together our top 12s for every position this week, and I'm going to just go through my top 12 running backs. You just stop me when you get to a player that you disagree with the order, all right? I want to see how many we can get to.
Not many. Go ahead.
Number 1, Austin Eckler.
Nope. Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey's number 2 for me. I think you can put those two in any order, so we're not going to count that as a disagreement. Okay. I can go with either one of those guys. There's no wrong call. Although it's going to be interesting to see where those two land in the overall rankings for everyone. So that'll be something we talk about as the offseason goes on. But let's get to number 3, where I feel like you're probably going to disagree with this one, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor, last year's number 1 consensus running back, and you don't agree.
Keep going. I agree.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that was one of the ones that I thought there was going to be some disagreement, but okay, number 4, Saquon Barkley.
Keep going.
Number 5, Josh Jacobs.
No. I put Joe Mixon here. Jacobs was one I had trouble with because I don't know where he's going to be.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, his role in the passing game was really in flux throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
And when Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller got healthy, it just wasn't the same. So I don't expect the same thing there. Plus, it's just he was so much better this year than he was the previous 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit lower. So I have Mixon, and I hate Mixon at 5, by the way. Just a really inefficient season in a year where he should have been a much, much better rusher. But it was a lot. 1 through 4 was fairly easy for me, and 5 was when it got tough.
Everything was set up for Joe Mixon to have a monster season, and he just wasn't good. He had the 3rd most touches, I believe, inside of the 10-yard line, and ended up with 6 touchdowns on, I think, 32 touches from inside of the 10. It's just wild how inefficient he was.
That could get better, right? I mean, the touchdowns get better. The yards per carry really was concerning, and the lack of explosive plays, and just everything was set up so perfectly for him. So I do think, as long as he keeps that role, he's going to be really steady. That's why I put him at 5.
Yeah, he's number 8 for me. I think steady is the right way to go, but I don't know if he's like as good of a player as a lot of the other players in this range. And number 6 for me, Derrick Henry, who I think, after the scary foot injury in 2021, no concerns really this year. I don't even really think his absence in week 17 was all that concerning in terms of the injury. I think it was probably just a rest thing, but he did turn 29 yesterday. So that's the one concern. The workload does feel a little bit like a ticking time bomb. Number 7, I know we disagree on. I have Breece Hall, but I know you have Breece Hall a little bit lower.
Yeah, he'd be much higher. But not only, I think he had 2 injuries in that knee, one in addition to the ACL. So I'm just trying to learn my lesson from this year. It was way too high on Chris Godwin. It took too long for that to pay off. Trying to be a little bit patient with these guys. I have Travis Etienne at 7. But this next group is, really interchangeable. Etienne, I would love to see them expand his role in the passing game, but he was good for 2 or 3 catches just about every week. I think he's tremendously talented. I love the offense. I think the arrow's pointing up there, so I went with him.
Yeah, I don't have Travis Etienne in my top 12, but I also think starting at 7, there's probably 10 or 12 running backs that you could rank in pretty much any order. I have Joe Mixon 8. Who do you have at 8?
I have Ken Walker 8.
I think that's perfectly fine. He also didn't make my top 12, but him and Travis Etienne were like 12A, 12B, 12C, whatever you want to order it. Dalvin Cook, number 9 for me. Did he make your top 12?
No, he's probably 12A, 12B. He's right. I have Josh Jacobs 9th. So no, not on Dalvin Cook. It just, the touches went down. They became a passing team. I think he's right around RB 10 to 12 this year. And it just seems like things are going in the wrong direction. So I try to stay young at the back of my top 12.
Not quite Joe Mixon-esque, because at least Dalvin Cook did have some very big plays, but only 6 touchdowns inside of the 20-yard or inside the 10-yard line on 24 touches. Very inefficient there, but that could be a sign that things will be better next season. I've got Nick Chubb as RB10, and I feel like he's just like the default RB10. He's like the perfect low-end RB1. He's not someone I necessarily want to draft all that much, but you're always happy that he's on your team, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be right around RB9 per game for the 3rd straight year, maybe 4th straight year, so I get it. He doesn't have top 5 upside in PPR. Yep. This is a PPR ranking, so I didn't have him in my top 12. I have DeAndre Swift at 10.
He's right in that conversation as well.
Yeah, he's so good. And at the end of the year, I hope we get a reasoning for why his workload was so low. If he just was never fully healthy, then I'm going to feel confident with that. If it's going to always be this way, he won't even come close to my top 12.
All right, let's hit the last two. And I kind of went with upside and a little bit of speculation here. I went with Tony Pollard at 11, Ramondre Stevenson at 12. But those two guys, there's a lot of moving parts. Tony Pollard is a free agent. Ramondre Stevenson, I assume the Patriots are going to have a completely different offense next season, and that could include Damian Harris, who's a free agent, being gone. So I think both of those guys definitely have top 12 upside. Who'd you go with to round out your top 12?
The ACL guys, Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. And I don't think anybody's going to be high on Javonte Williams, but I still like him. Now, Pollard has a chance to be third. I would say there's a scenario if he is the guy they bring back in Dallas and there's no major competition, he'd be third for me.
Yeah, or if he goes somewhere like Las Vegas where he's going to get a ton of touches, there's definitely a lot of room there for Tony Pollard to end up as the consensus RB 3 or 4. So it's going to be really fascinating. And like I said, there were probably 3 or 4 names that we didn't even mention who you could very easily plug into the end of the top 12. It's going to be really fascinating to see how the top 12 at running back shakes out in the rest of the position. We'll have a lot to say about that for the rest of the offseason. For Adam Azer, I'm Chris Towers. We'll see you next time.